Hey parents, Dr. Garrett here from Foundation Chiropractic, and today I want to talk to you about the BUMBO seat. We see a lot of pregnant moms in this office, we see a lot of, newborns and stuff like that, and we get asked a lot about the BUMBO seat. So I want to talk a little bit about that. First and foremost, I think the BUMBO seat, when used correctly and in moderation, is okay, and we'll talk about that here right now. According to the BUMBO seat manufacturer, it's utilized for kids aged between 3 and 10 months, and I personally think that's way wrong. Here's why. Number one, after about 6 months, kids all they want to do is crawl around, right? They're not going to sit still anyway, so the BUMBO seat's going to do no good. Before 4 months, so according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, children typically gain stability of their head and neck by about 4 months. So why would you put your child in the BUMBO seat before they have stability in the head and neck? Because that's the one area that has no support within the BUMBO seat. So a lot of those kids, you put them in there at 2 or 3 months of age, their head will be like this or tilted to one side, they'll be slouched over, things like that. That's a sure sign your child's not ready to be in the BUMBO seat because they can't support themselves, okay? Not only that, so I think that 4 to 6 months range is probably when it's going to be utilized best. So if the 40 to $50 is worth it for 1 to 2 months, I get it. I think that's okay. So just make sure they're developmentally ready for it. And the second thing is make sure they don't put them in there for a very long period of time. Here's why. What we know is the motor system is huge developing the brain and the whole nervous system and sensory integration, the whole body overall. And what that's based on is, so sensory integration, which is, how you sense your body within the outside world around you, knowing where you're at in space and all that sort of stuff, is based on proprioception, which is weight bearing. You need to have weight bearing on your joints, which the BUMBO seat takes away the weight bearing. You need to be able to have tactile, so you need to be touching, which a lot of times the BUMBO seat takes away, unless you have like a tray in front of them. And movement, or vestibular system, which is based on movement. So the 3 things children need to really build their sensory systems are taking away when you put them in the BUMBO seat. So I think, if you need to make your lunch real quick and you do something real quick, fine, if they're within that 4 to 6 month time frame. But after that, get your child down on the ground, get them rolling over, get them crawling. Those are huge for primitive reflexes to go away, which we talk about a lot in our office. That's huge for growth and development of the brain. The motor system drives the brain, okay? Movement is huge for growth and development those first 3 to 5 years of their life. Matter of fact, research supports your child should be walking by 1 year of age. If they don't walk till 13 months, significant cognitive decline later on in life. That's because we know the motor system was delayed, which means the brain was delayed. So we got to get these kids moving. You got to keep them in the BUMBO seat for a limited period of time. Now, but real quick, just on that note, I'm just going to do a direct quote from Colleen Harper. She's a PT. She's a director of the Rehab and Child Services at Children's La Rabida Hospital. And she says, "No equipment enhances a child's motor development. Equipment is a babysitter," right? Which is true. And like I said, I understand that. Life's busy. If you need to put them in there for a short period of time, those 4 to 6 months where they can support themselves and they're going to be safe, by all means do it. But if they're not developmentally ready, don't put them in it. Or if they're too old, don't put them in it because you risk them falling out and hurting themselves. There were 2 recalls, one in 2007 where 1 billion were recalled. There was 4 million recalled in 2012, and a lot of those were because of skull fractures and kids sitting out. And my guess is because either they weren't ready to be in there or they were too old to be in there. So just a couple things to consider. My thing is moderation if you're going to do it. And yeah, that's a big thing. Moderation, make sure they're developmentally ready for it, because you don't want you don't want to force a child to sit if they're not ready to sit. Okay? They need to go through these developmental milestones and the things the right way. I hope that made sense. If you have questions or comments, please reach out. We're here to help in any way that we can, and I hope you found this information valuable. Thanks again.